emergency stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on two separate tracks, each one giving special emphasis to certain sections of the orchestra, as heard from those positions. Now, when played back simultaneously on two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound, impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
Well, let me say good morning to everybody. Welcome back. Nate Ivy in the air chair. It is always, as always, should I say, it is my pleasure to be with you. And I want to get things started. I want to welcome in my guest this morning because she is a very busy woman doing big things. I want to welcome in Yvette Simspon to the show. Yvette, good morning to you.
Hey, Nathan. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing on a Friday?
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Thank you.
I'm getting on a plane tomorrow to go up to New York, and so I'm going to enjoy this day before I hit the road again. So super excited.
Well, I'm just super excited for you. I know you get a lot of well wishers from the city, after the election with John Cranley, and then you've moved on to bigger and better things, national prominence, having a real impact in the political system, wins for us all over the country. And as much as we can talk about it, I want to talk about everything you're doing and talk a little politics as well. What do you think about this Trump impeachment stuff that's going on? Do you think this is a good move by the Democrats? I mean, from what I'm reading, Yvette, this has never happened during an election year where you had an impeachment process. What do you think is going to happen?
I think Trump is making it real easy on us. I mean, so he was warned during the Russia investigation that working with foreign leaders is an impeachable offense, potentially. He not only admitted to doing it in Ukraine, he got Rudy Giuliani talking about how they did it. They're pointing fingers at Pence and Pompeo. Now he's going on TV asking China to do it. Turns out he talked to Australia about doing it. And now today we learned that Ukraine is actually going to open up an investigation against Joe Biden's son. So I would say it's one of those situations where he knows he's done something wrong and he's trying to normalize it. But what he's done is made it so we don't have to investigate. You basically said you did it, and you're doing it right now. So Trump is going down. What we know from insiders, folks up on the Hill, is that the Republicans are starting to realize that they've got to cut bait on this dude. We expect an investigation from the Senate, which is really, really unusual, and we didn't expect that at first. So the tide is changing. He's going to get himself into a lot of trouble. He keeps talking. And as you know, he don't stop talking. So it's just getting easier for us. We expect that there's going to be a vote on the floor of the House for impeachment after the investigation is done. We expect the Senate to take it up. We don't know what they're going to do, but I will tell you, in my position, if the Senate doesn't support impeachment, then my 4 seats to flip the Senate is going to be easier to get. So that's where we are right now with Trump.
Speaking with Yvette Simspon, before you go too far, good morning to you. This is the Nathan Ivy Show. I just want to remind you, today's show is sponsored by the First Lady's Health Fair. It's coming up on October 13th. They've got various locations, free health screenings, First Lady's Health Fair, and I'm going to give you more details about it as the show gets deeper. So, Yvette, we haven't talked since the election. I mean, I don't know if you've done any Cincinnati-based interviews, how you feel about talking about it, but, I mean, looking back, and, of course, just for the sake of the conversation, I mean, just talk about, the end of that run for mayor and your thoughts.
Yeah.
How'd you decide to make the moves that you're doing now?
So, it's a tough thing. So I ran for mayor. It was my intention to be mayor. I ran hard. I did not create a backup plan because I expected to win and to be the mayor. And what happened was after that, I had to have, like everybody, a conversation about, okay, so what's next? And so I took a few months, started to build my own consulting practice, which I think a lot of people do when they kind of transition out of one thing. And God showed up. So right away, I got a contract to work for Democracy for America to run their federal program. And as you know, a lot of national organizations were trying to flip the House. And so Democracy for America is committed to electing brown and black people, progressives, white progressives, and pushing forward the new American majority agenda. And so I got brought on. Yvette Simpson LLC was hired by Democracy for America to run the federal program. And as you know, it was a successful program. I got the chance to work with people like Stacey Abrams and Andrew Gillum and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ayanna Pressley and Rashida Tlaib and all these other amazing people who are now in Congress. And so right after that was done, the executive director of Democracy for America and their chairman asked me to become their CEO. And that's when everything really started to shift. And I accepted that offer, started to go out and do some media, both in D.C., New York. And that was, after that, I had a couple amazing meetings with ABC. And you probably then saw me in my first appearance. I think we talked about it a lot, put it on Facebook, my first appearance on This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Shortly after that appearance, they gave me an offer to join the team at ABC Disney. So currently, I am CEO of Democracy for America, and I'm a paid political contributor and employee of ABC Disney. So I'm busy. I also still work at my law firm, Ulmer & Byrne, because, we Black people, we got to have 4 or 5 jobs.
Right,
And so I still do that as well. So that's my Cincinnati connection.
That is interesting.
I still live here. I'm still connected here. I just travel constantly.
It's
so a lot of people thought I moved, but I didn't. I still live here. I'm just on the road a lot.
And you know what? I just ran into you over at Fuel Collective. I was doing a little something for them. How'd I look in that tuxedo? People said good things, but you know what? People say anything to get you to do what they want you to do.
You look good, Nathan.
Thank
you look really good. You look like I never thought of you as a model.
Really?
But like you could totally pull that off.
Oh,
yeah,
you know what? Now you just buttering me up. Okay, I appreciate it.
No. We don't give free compliments.
Okay,
no, we don't
okay.
give free compliments. That's a real one. That was earned.
Okay, appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. I was like, wow, I ran to Yvette Simpson. That was great. You know, it's funny how things turn out because the big conversation was like Yvette's got to give up being on city council to run for mayor. So it's kind of like all in. And then it didn't go the way you had planned. And you end up, I don't know, it's hard for me to speak for you, but from the outside looking in, you ended up in a really good spot, it seems, where you can have a real positive impact along the same lines of the same work you were doing here in the city, but only on the national level. Do you ever a lot of people have lamented you losing that race. Like, if Yvette was mayor, this or that would have happened. Do you hear that?
I hear that a lot. And I feel that. I love this city. It's a city that I fought hard for because I do believe we deserve better. I think we can do so much better. I think you have to have a leader that has a heart for the city and that's willing to go hard for it. But God had a different plan for me. And the ironic thing is I had to run for mayor in order to have the connection that got me where I am now. Now, if he had told me we were going to lose, I wish he would have told me. I would have prepared differently. But I thought for sure, especially after the primary, that we were going to win it. I think the funny thing for folks, and I know that's, it's a political show, but the funny thing that folks don't understand is, that door closes and you think it's over, And for a couple months, that's where I was. I was, applying for jobs and kind of figuring out what I might do, and nothing really fit. And it wasn't until I said, I'm going to do my own thing and just see where it leads me. And boy, talk about closing a door and open a big old window. I mean, my bishop at my church said, you wanted the city and God gave you the nation. And I think that is an amazing thing about what happens when we dream really small. I couldn't have imagined a job. I lead the largest coordinated political action committee in the country. We've supported over 1,000 candidates. We support issues, $63 million we've invested in races since our founding. I'm the first female, white, or Black to lead this organization. And the platform that I get as an employee of ABC Disney to cover, not only election coverage, you guys hopefully saw the coverage post-election in Houston, but also to be on This Week with George Stephanopoulos on a regular basis. So I'll be on Sunday. I hope you guys will watch. And so it's funny, Nathan, because I would have never dreamt of this. I wanted to lead my city. I didn't even know there was this whole space of organizations that really work not only to get people elected, but set the future of our country. I mean, we're literally setting the chess table for the future by identifying leaders, pushing issues, working with members of Congress, working with elected leaders to get agenda done. And it's just an amazing place. I'm good. So I tell people, Yvette, you're right. I'm good. Don't cry for me, Argentina. my life is great.
Um,
And I love everything about it. I do, this city means a lot to me, which is why I wouldn't move. People said, "Oh, you should move to DC or New York so you're not traveling all the time." Like, I want to be home, and when I'm home, I'm home. And so this will always be my home, and I'll always be committed to this city. But man, what I'm doing now, Nathan, I just love it. There's nothing
I'm
like
very
it.
happy for you. And just to go back, I'm not sure if you heard it or not, you know, but all during that mayoral race, I 100% had your back in the sense of, making sure we was on the issue because there was a lot of ad hominem attacks, a lot of BS. And for me and my listeners, I want to keep it about what's important, and that's the policy and what the overall, the overall direction of the city. But again, I'm very happy for you. Tell us what it's like to so what's George Stephanopoulos like? What's he like?
He is a smart person. I will tell you. So when I did the show the first time, I was surprised. I wasn't nervous at all. You feel like you're sitting at a table. Sometimes you get poor child syndrome. I didn't feel imposter syndrome. I felt like I deserved to sit in that seat. I looked across at George. He said, "Welcome to the table. We're glad you're here." And I immediately was like, "Yeah, this is a dude. He's cool." It was his birthday. He took a picture with me. And then shortly after I signed my contract with ABC to join the team, he sent me a text message and just said, "Glad to have you here. Welcome to the family," and signed it G. And I think he's a big part of the reason why they asked me to come on permanently. I think he loves, the perspective I bring, the fact that I've also served in addition to being a movement leader, I think is great. So he's just a great human. I really enjoy serving with him and sitting with him at the round table. So he's a good person, very, very smart, very smart guy.
What kind of show prep do they provide for you, or is it just all on your own? Do you guys get together and work on topics? Does George just tell you what the topics are? How does that work?
So, it's this week. So anything that happened during the week could be fair game. And that includes, up until the show. And so the ironic thing about it is we have a sense of kind of what are the big things we might talk about. They create a plan. But as you know, with Donald Trump, anything can happen. And it almost always happens on a Friday. And so what I try to do with my team is I try to make sure I'm up to speed on everything that's happening, anything that can happen. I remember I was in New York. It was a Saturday morning. I was just getting ready to go to the studio. And that was the day that Donald Trump crossed into Korea, right? And like he did that on a Sunday morning. And I was like, all right, I guess we're talking about foreign policy today. So I had to, do like it. I'm a lawyer, thank goodness. I was like, okay, well, everything I need to know about foreign policy in Korea. So you never know. So there's a fun part about it. It is not scripted. We do not talk about these things ahead of time,
Is that
like
right?
meaning we don't prepare what we're going to say. It is very organic as it looks. It is fun. I will tell you, the time in the green room is the funnest time for me because that's when our energy gets, we just talk like for real. You know what I mean? And me and Chris Christie got some beef. That's real. And so when we're in the green room, it's no holds barred. And I actually was like, they should do a show just in the green room because you guys don't get to see, because he's passionately advocating for the GOP. I'm passionately advocating for the Democratic Party and the progressive wing of the party. And so, but it's not ugly. We're not fighting. It's just we are passionately advocating for what we believe is right. And so it's way more organic than you think.
I would have thought there was more of a script to it. That's quite interesting. Now, is it taped live, or is there a delay to it, or how does that work?
No, it's completely live.
Complete.
So what it
Wow.
is what it is.
So y'all walk
Yeah.
into the lion's den like killer be killed. I really like that actually.
It's getting real fun now that Rahm Emanuel is on because he's got his own energy that he brings to the table, and so you see me, little black girl. It's me, George Stephanopoulos, Chris Christie, Matt Dowd, and Rahm Emanuel, and I'm like, I got to bring it. So what I love is that I'll tell you this just to bring it back to Cincinnati is there is nothing I can say or would say in that format that would be too out there, right? My organization is a progressive organization fighting for the rights of, disadvantaged folks, fighting for Black and brown people every day. I can sit at that table and be Yvette Simpson every single day. Don't have to apologize for it. I can say what I want to say, and it's going to be received well. I think that's the hardest part I think about sometimes serving an elected office, especially in a city like Cincinnati, where, you say something and people's feelings get hurt. You know how it is. You folks start to rally against you. They try to drag you. I don't worry about that in this environment because the work that I'm doing is so deeply connected to what I believe. And so that's why I think I can sit at that table and feel like what I'm saying is authentic. I can say it without worrying about it, no filter, no nothing, And so it's a real free place. But that table, it gets hot. So I hope folks will watch this coming Sunday.
Oh yeah, people have been watching. I mean, they've been telling me like, "Hey, they loved it when you first got on there." Again, you got a lot of support. In fact, somebody wrote, "They don't." Mike Jones writes, "I don't understand how black people in this city voted for Cranley over Mrs. Simpson." Oh yeah, checks in the churches and BS propaganda. He writes. So, I mean, some strong
Yeah.
opinions. Jared has a question. He writes, "Why can't there be any policies specifically to improve the lives of black people?" Question mark. Seems like the benign neglect policy is still in full effect.
Is he talking about Cincinnati?
Well, I don't know, Jerry. You talking about Cincinnati or nationwide? I don't know. He didn't really specify. But let's talk about the
Okay.
politics. I mean, as we
Well, I
get
mean, I
ready,
think, in big picture, black folks still need to get in position to be able to lead as black folk. And I think one of the things I'm super excited about leading Democracy for America is we've been talking about criminal justice reform for 15 years. It's been a part of our platform. We helped elect Wesley Bell, who was the former attorney in the Mike Brown case, to be prosecutor of St. Louis. We helped elect Kim Foxx to be Cook County prosecutor. We helped Rachel Rollins to become a DA in Boston, Massachusetts. We do this work every day. So we've been about this work for a long, long time. So stepping into an organization that has been about protecting black and brown people, elevating black and brown voices, we supported Stacey Abrams before anybody else, before she even decided to run for governor. Our members support her fully. We're now partnered with her work with Fair Fight, which is helping remove voter suppression in 20 states across the country. We have been partnered with her from day one. Andrew Gillum, who is like my brother from another mother, who was on that first round table with me, we supported his race all the way through recount. And so, we've been doing this work for a long time. I would say that we still need more black and brown people to run for office, to win office, and to advocate for the issues that matter to us without apologizing, right? Without apologizing for it. And so I would say, Jared, if you know folks who are willing to run, who are thinking about it, encourage them to do it. If you think you want to run, do it. Wherever you are in position of your position, advocate for black people. We need to vote. We need to register people. We need to act like our life depends on it, because it does. Like, our life is at stake. So I think if we continue to advocate and we continue to put ourselves out there in positions where our voices can be heard, I think policies for black and brown people will get better.
somebody wants to know.
I mean, look at Rashida Tlaib, look at Ayanna Pressley, look at AOC, all people that we supported in this last election that, frankly, the Democratic establishment was not supporting. Ilhan Omar, we supported her the day that she announced she was running in Minnesota, and the party was not going to endorse her. And the reason why we ended up endorsing her when we did was to force the Democratic Party in Minnesota to support her, and they did. She was a champion there anyway. I think there was a question about who they were going to put forward, and I'm so glad that they put her forward, right? And so by having people in positions of power who are going to advocate for us, who look like us, who reflect us, that's how we change policy for black and brown people in America.
I love that. I mean, I love all those women. I love what they stand for. I love the policies. I love the direction. It troubles me when I read sometimes that the traditional Democrat Party seems to be slow. So what is the future of it? Is the future of the Democrat Party more progressive, more responsive to the needs directly of black and brown people, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I believe that the progressive wing of the party is the present and the future of the party. And I think that's because, and I've said this a million times, I've said this when we were at our conference in Philly and I was doing an interview with HuffPost, and she said, well, we're talking about Joe Biden, and why does everybody think Joe Biden is going to save us, right? And I said, look, we have been believing in the great white hope for way too long. And the future and the present of this party is young people, is black and brown people. And here's why. Because if you are black and brown, if you are disadvantaged, you can't be moderate. I ain't got time for that. I will lose my life. I don't have time for moderation. I need change right now. And what the progressives have done, what young people have done, what black and brown people, it's that we've been waiting on y'all to change our lives forever, right? We've been waiting on this for a long time. And guess what? We ain't waiting no more. And so I think there's an urgency, particularly around issues like climate. There's an urgency around the murder of Black and brown people. We can talk about Dallas. That's a whole nother show. What happened down in Dallas. There Trump has brought up something that has been suppressed for a long time in white folks, and racism is still alive here, and it doesn't just exist on the streets. It exists in judges' chambers. It exists in sheriff's offices. It exists in the highest office of the land, the White House. And so we're at a place where progressives have to be in charge because guess what? Unfortunately, the moderate wing of the party, the corporate wing of the party is so compromised and is moving so slow that by the time they get around to changing, we're going to all be gone. There's going to be nothing left for us. So I'm excited about the number of young people that I've seen. And AOC and the squad, they have really inspired a lot of people to run who would not traditionally run. If you think about Alexandria, she was a substitute teacher. She was bartending part-time, wicked smart from the beginning, as real as they come. And she won a seat from a 20-year incumbent in Congress. And so they've inspired a bunch of people to run for office. And I think that is what this party and the future of our party is all about.
So you have a very unique perspective, from the city, worked as a public servant in the city, now on a national level in terms of political organizing. So through your lens and experience, look at Cincinnati for me and tell me, what are we missing? What is Black Cincinnati missing in terms of the politics?
I don't know if we have enough time. I don't know if we have enough time for that. I think I got a list. So I think, one, Cincinnati doesn't have an organizing foundation. When I was traveling around the country last year, what you would see is this real spirit of organizing. Folks who are willing to march every day. Folks who are willing to knock on doors every day. Folks who got a connection to the community, who are willing to get people out when things happen, in the city, and not just when it's their issue. When folks are coming together and we're saying that ain't right, right? We've got a big corporate overtone here that really does guide everything that happens in our city. And because the people don't rise up, because the organizing infrastructure isn't here, we don't get forward. This Cincinnati nice thing is killing us. And the fact that we can't have a real conversation about race in the city, we can't have a real conversation about who should lead us, we can't have a real conversation about what's real and what's not, what's actually happening in the undercurrent of this city, who's really controlling, who's manipulating, who's guiding, it will continue to trap us. And so that's one of the challenges, is because we've got a lot of Black people here, but we haven't owned our power. You think about what happened with Tracy Hunter, which still boils me over. I can't believe that can freaking happen in a city like Cincinnati. So upset, still upset about that. That would not happen. That would not happen in where Ilhan Omar lives. There was no way. That would not happen without people rising up and basically taking back power in our city. And so we've got to get back to the fact that the people have the power, right? And that, there's a lot of moneyed interest here. There's a lot of powerful people who control. That's true everywhere. But if people don't activate, if we don't understand that activism is the pillar of power that can knock down the others, you see what's happened in Puerto Rico. You see what's happening in Hong Kong. You see what's happening all around the world. People are saying, okay, we're tired of this. We're tired of authoritarian regimes. We're tired of people telling us who we going to be. We're tired of people holding us back. We need a true organizing foundation. And we do have some soldiers out there. I think about folks like Iris Rowley, always on the front line. So many soldiers out there all the time, the NAACP. But it needs to be permanent and it needs to be consistent. And I said that at an event I spoke at over here in Cincinnati recently about the importance of building an organizing infrastructure so that the people have a true voice in what happens here. And frankly, we just need to be more honest and call stuff out more, because I think we get real shy about saying what it is. I remember there was some folks who, during my election, were saying, there were some things that John Cranley was doing at the time, and they said, Yvette, is John Cranley racist? And I said, I don't know that I care whether he's racist or not, but if his policies affect Black and brown people to this detriment, that's all I care about. Do you love me and my brown skin? Do you love about me and my issues? And the scorecard is, what have you done to make my life better versus to fulfill yourself? And so the problem is we just can't have that conversation without people getting, oh, you can't say that. We need to get past all that, because guess what? People in this city are still suffering. Black people, I talked about this at the NAACP Awards. Black people are still suffering under the weight of bad health care, bad education, bad neighborhoods that continue, Black neighborhoods in this city continue to disappear on a daily basis, and people aren't advocating for that strong enough. We're really not seeing the advances we need when it comes to our wealth, not only in Cincinnati, but everywhere. So you got me preaching now, Nathan.
Oh, I appreciate. We need to
Just a
hear
long
this.
list.
I mean, because you've got
It's a
that
long list.
experience. I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
actually doing it. You're working with these people all over the country. So to take that wealth of experience and bring it back here could be very valuable for people in my audience and myself as well. Letting
Well,
us
it's
know.
funny because I kept thinking, man, I wish I saw this before, right? Like I didn't know that. It wasn't until I got out there. I mean, we did organizing as part of the campaign, but we didn't. And as an elected official, I was always working to elevate the voices of people who are the voiceless. But in these other cities, there is a huge organizing foundation, and Ilhan Omar says it all the time. You get what you organize for. You win what you organize for. Basically, if you don't go get it, you're not going to get it. It's not going to come to you. And so, I learned a lot from, I worked with over 40 candidates last year just on the federal program. That's not counting Stacey Abrams and some of our governor's candidates that I work with in Jealous in Maryland. And so what I've learned is in these cities, there is, and we've got the spirit, Nathan. We don't do it consistently. We see the same people out there putting themselves out there, putting their bodies out there. It's the same 10, 15, 20 people. And we've got a ton of people who just need to be out there every day saying, what are we going to do to serve Black and brown people? We're almost 50% of this city. Why is it that life isn't changing for Black and brown people in our city? Why not? And so you got to demand that. You've got to be willing to put yourself out there every single day and organize people around the issues that matter. Because guess what? If you're waiting on the world to change, it ain't going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to change because you say so. You've got to make it change.
What do you think about intersectionality? Some Black people in the Black community feel like we need to focus on Black issues first and brown issues second. How do you see that?
I think first of all, I had a conversation with folks. I did a panel at a conference in Philly about this. I'm a Black person. And I do believe that Black people have put ourselves out there for everybody else's issue. And we have not seen that reciprocate. You think about in history, Black women helped white women get the right to vote in 1920. We didn't see that same right for 45 years, right? So we help, you think about what's happening with the LGBTQ community. It was Black transgender women who helped get gay rights in this country. It was Black people who marched alongside so many movements, including right now the immigration movement. You got a lot of Black people standing along brown people to get the rights of folks who are brown in this country. And what I would say is I would love for us to get together, and I think we should. But if that requires that I'm there for you and you're not there for me, it don't work for me. I mean, I think about, I was at the Jewish Archives here in Cincinnati, and if you haven't been there, you should go see it. There's a lot of that connection that used to happen between Black people and Jewish people is documented there. Like, learned so much about even Jackie Robinson and the way he was connected with the Jewish community. About Martin Luther King and how they fought for the rights of Black people. And what I'm saying now is, why is it that we don't have that same thing now? Black people are, we march in your march. Are you marching in mine? Are you willing to say Black Lives Matter? If I'm willing to say that Jewish lives matter, are you willing to say Black Lives Matter if I say gay lives matter? We've got to realize that, one, yes, we do need to come together because it's the same oppression, right? The oppression that comes after me is the oppression that's coming after all of them. But what I don't love is that Black people have been fighting for everybody else's rights since the dawn of time. And when we show up, like when we need everybody, where are you? Where are you? And so what I would demand is that, yes, we should work together. Black and brown people should. But also we need to make sure that folks fight for us too, because we haven't seen much improvement, unfortunately.
So what's next for you? I know you said your time is short, but so what's next for you? Like over the week, not no specifics, but just give us some idea about what you're working on in general. And
it's a busy time for us in both places. So I'll be in New York this coming weekend. We've got about 70 races that we're supporting as an organization that still have to take place between now and November. We've got about 100 candidates across the country this year. So I'm going to be traveling, me and my team across the country to be with folks and to help them finish their races. So I'm going to be in San Francisco. I'll be in Houston. I'm going to be in Philly. I'm probably going to also end up in Mississippi. We'll be in Virginia. And so what we're going to be doing is on the ground organizing with our candidates for this last stretch, right? Making sure our folks make it over the finish line. And then as soon as I take a breath from that, we'll take on 6 Senate races next year or 7 as we work to flip the Senate. So I'm going to flip, like on November 6th, I'll flip over to federal races. We'll probably have 40 or 50 congressional races we'll be in, many AG's races. We've already been asked by the Democratic Secretary of State's Association to take on some Secretary of State races, which, as you know, is so important to protect the vote because Secretaries of State determine what the voting rules are. So we're going to be in a lot of races next year. So I'm going to shift right after November 5th into planning for 2020. Oh, yeah, and there's this thing called a presidential race that we've got a lot of work to do, too. So it's busy.
So your contract with this week is through the 2020 election, right? So you'll be at the conventions and everything that happens up until, and probably including the night of the election with some coverage as well. Is that correct? Or at least that week? No. I'll be doing caucuses, convention, election night. All election coverage is a part of my work with ABC in addition to this week. And then you will see me on other platforms like The View, like Good Morning America from time to time to give political analysis, Nightline, World News Tonight, whatever the shows are on the ABC network. You'll see me there giving political commentary on those shows as well. Both, of course, on TV and then behind the scenes as well. Very excited. One last question, Yvette. I'd be remiss in my duties. You can give me the short answer on this, but reparations, I mean, that came up, ADOS. I'm sure you're familiar with that movement, primarily started by Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. Mm-hmm. And how serious are the Democrats? That's one. And then 2, how close are we to reparations? And in your opinion, what would that actually take for us to see that to actually happen?
I think I was pleasantly, we as an organization support reparations. So let me just say that, yes. And I think the fact that Ta-Nehisi Coates and there was a bunch of other advocates that hit the floor of Congress to actually talk about this issue is really helping people understand it a little bit better and what it looks like and what it means, right? And so I think a lot of people think it's a handout. It's not, right? We are owed that money, right? We work for that money. Nowhere in the world will you work for years and years and years and then you don't get compensated for that. And so changing the language and messaging around reparations is really important. I was pleasantly surprised that it was brought up at the presidential debate. And honestly, a lot of the candidates are willing to talk about it. So I think it's something that isn't as far-fetched as you think. I think it only can happen, of course, if we have a Democratic president, if we only have a progressive president, because I think progressives are willing to take these issues on. I think the big thing is first just helping people understand what it is and what it's not. I always say real change starts with changing minds, which means that you've got to have a message and you got to explain it to people so that they understand it. But I think it's very possible. And I think this conversation will continue. I want to, continue to applaud the advocates that have been out there every single day talking about this issue and fighting for it. So no, I don't think it's that far away. I think we've just got to have a real conversation about what black people are owed in this country, for what we've done, what we built.
Well, Yvette Simpson, Thank you so much for your time. We wish you the best. And we'll be watching.
Thank you.
We'll be watching this week.
All right.
Yep,
Thanks,
take it
Nathan.
easy.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, most def.
Right.
That's Yvette Simpson, everybody. And finally got a chance to catch up with her and spend about 30 minutes just picking her brain a little bit. Somebody says, ask her about reparations. I know. I know y'all want to know what she thinks about reparations. She says she don't think it's that far away. Her organization supports it. Okay, well, before we go too far, I want to remind you that we got a couple of sponsors on today's show, and I want to make sure you understand what's going on and how you can be a part of it. First, our sponsor is the First Ladies Health Fair Day. That's going to be on October the 13th between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. There are various locations throughout the Cincinnati area. The First Ladies for Health will host a one-day health fair at 12 locations throughout Hamilton County. Anyone can visit any of the locations to get free health tests and screenings, counseling, and follow-up plans. Insured and uninsured persons with any pre-existing condition can visit a participating location and receive confidential testing, diagnosis, and recommendations for healthy living. The First Ladies for Health leverages the leadership of the Ladies of faith-based organizations to inspire and empower people in our community to focus on their health. Among the services that will be offered are screenings for HIV, diabetes, hypertension, breast and prostate cancer, vision, dental, brain health, lung health. Flu shots will also be available. Children's screenings include flu shot, blood pressure, asthma, body mass index, dental, vision, speech, and language. The screenings will take place on the same day. That's Sunday, October the 13th, at 12 locations. And here's what I'm going to do. I am going to paste this inside of the Chop Shop so you can, you'll have all the information about the locations, when and where, the times, and if you want to go yourself or you want to share it with someone, you can easily do so. So there it is. I just put that there straight from my friends over at the Voice of Black Cincinnati. They do great work in the city. That's the First Ladies Health Fair. That's going to be on October the 13th. And it's an all-day affair. They've got locations. I'm looking at it now. All over the city. New Prospect Baptist Church, New Jerusalem Baptist Church, Allen Temple AME, Rockdale Academy, Corinthian Baptist Church. Shout out to my fam over at CBC. Word of Deliverance. Of course, that's out in Forest Park. I believe that's Bishop Bobby Hilton's church. College Hill Recreation Center, the Evanston Recreation Center, New Life Temple Church, Seven Hills Neighborhood Houses, the YMCA down on Elm Street, Mother of Christ Catholic Church over in Winton Hills. And again, I've ran through the screenings. If you're looking for more information, I'm going to give you a number. You can write it down, remember it, or share it. 513-352-3250. This event is going to take place, rain or shine. So if it's raining, they ain't stopping. It's about health. Okay, that's the First Ladies Health Fair, and you can get free health screenings at any of the 12 locations. Again, this will take place all on one day. That's October the 13th. I want to remind you of that. Also, today's show is sponsored by the Mammogram Jam. Saturday, October the 5th, 2019, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's going to be tomorrow. And this is from the folks at the Erica J. Holloman Foundation. This is a free event, and they're trying to raise awareness about triple-negative breast cancer, which for a lot of scientific reasons that I just can't fully articulate to you, is particularly dangerous, lethal to young Black women. Again, it's tomorrow, October the 5th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us at Mango's, located at 7121 Dixie Highway in Fairfield, for an afternoon of fun and mammograms. When was your last mammogram? The TriHealth Mammogram Van will be available for breast cancer screenings. Be sure to come out and support Erica J. Holloman Foundation and learn more about triple-negative breast cancer. There's a couple things I want to highlight here. Number one, triple-negative breast cancer is particularly lethal to young women of color. Okay? But, and maybe because of that, there's less research. So we need research and money for research and focus on this particular deadly disease for a multitude of reasons. You know, better screening options, which would be nice. And the Mammogram Jam is tomorrow, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Casual attire. DJ Pillow will be on the ones and twos. They're going to do a split the pot. And special for that occasion, they're going to have a specialty drink called the Pink Oasis. And the color pink, of course, is associated with breast cancer awareness, which this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So good morning to you, man. A lot has happened. I know we got the show started late. Again, I won't get into it, but same thing happened again with my car. So now it won't even start, and I've got to deal with that later, and I will. Luckily, we're in a position where we can, and it's just, you know, we're blessed. So I'll take care of that. I'm great to be with you. Because of that late start, I want to go at least into 11 today. And it's a lot of stuff going on, that I want to talk with you about. But I'm glad we got a chance to talk with Yvette Simpson. I wish her the best. As I said, people was talking all kind of issue. Oh, it's behind 9:30. People was talking all kind of shit behind her and getting to her business. I'm like, man, let's keep it on the policy. That's what's important to the people. The people don't care about all that stuff. They want to know who's going to be the best. The best. Did we get the best end of the deal of that? Damn. Oh, no, if we could go back, I think I might take Yvette as mayor. Now, I like the mayor, Mr. John Cranley. We're always nice to one each other and we see each other. That's a great thing. But if I had my druthers, I think I'd take Yvette. And I'll tell you why. Among many reasons. If you know anything about Yvette's background, and she didn't get into it, she grew up rough. Drugs, poverty. And I think that when you come for that, at least for me, I think you don't never forget that. I don't care what you do, how much money you make. I don't think you forget that. And if that means you don't forget that there's people, while you might have moved on and done well for yourself and now you're making more money or whatever, you don't forget that there's people being born into situations that are less than ideal. Less than ideal. So I think there was a lot of issues. I think if Yvette, when she was the mayor, she would have focused on 100%. But that's just me. But I thought it was interesting when she sort of did an analysis of what Cincinnati needs. I thought that was very, very interesting. And I think she was 100% on point. And what does that mean? That means either you join a movement or you start a movement. I think you should do both. That's what it means. You know, get up at the very least, get registered. At the very least. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. I got John from Princeton, New Jersey on the line. And John, good morning. Happy Friday.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivy and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the people around the world, and yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You know, that was a very interesting interview you did with Ms. Simpson. Before we get to Ms. Geiber and her crocodile tears and the sentencing and the judge, hold on a second. You know, as I sat back listening to Ms. Simpson, and I did text in, two texts to see if you can slip a question into Ms. Simpson to ask her about reparation. I wanted to see how she felt about that. I'm sure you and Lincoln like to make little jokes thinking I'm stalking her. No, I'm not stalking her. I enjoy listening to her. She's a very intelligent, attractive woman. She has good policies. And it sounds like she's marching her way up the ladder to higher goals. And obviously, things happen, as she stated, things happen for a reason. And maybe the mayor's position wasn't for her. And it sounds like she's going to a higher level than where she's at. That's the impression I'm getting.
Oh, already? Already, I think. Well, she's having a nationwide impact. I mean, not to say being mayor of Cincinnati is some kind of slouch job, but I mean, for me, it seems like she's able to, like I said, have a national impact and get back to what she really believes in.
Well, to be on that ABC show, along with sitting alongside our previous governor, Chris Crispy, I call him, a guy waiting for another meal. That's another story and another day.
But not the only one.
I don't know how, I'm not sure how she can tolerate this guy. I mean, he's such a liar. He should have been locked up with that whole Bridgegate stuff anyway. But that's another story.
Yeah.
But, but she gets a chance to put her platform on the table, and it sounds like she's very comfortable. And yes, I have caught her once or twice, and you can sense she's very comfortable on the show. And for her to get on that show, higher people have higher plans for her. And I think, this is my opinion, if a Democrat and female gets in, she may be marching right into the White House as probably a cabinet position. Let's wait and see how that develops. But to be as you were talking, I had a chance to look at that Progressive Party and that whole Democrat platform with that organization. It's an interesting organization and with some heavy money, going across that organization. So they have plans, and I'm happy to hear that she's not happy, as well as a lot of people across the country is not happy with the same old of the Democrat machine party. Republicans do the same thing. So the Clintons and the Bidens, the Bernies, that's a part of the old machine. And if people do not see what she's saying, the message is it's people of color, the young kids. That's what they're focusing their energy on, those young kids, because this is their future. Look what the rat in the White House have done to this country, as well as previous presidents. Okay, let's say it. Every president for 300 years of this country's history have ruined this country. I like former President Abraham Lincoln stated, "A house divided shall fall." Well, the Russians knew that in 2016, and the Russians knew it in 2018, and it's going to happen again 2020. So, Ms. Simpson's platform and her organizations are pushing a different platform, and they're saying to the Democrat machine, and I hope you're listening to the Nathan Ivy Show, people are not going to take it anymore. And I'm happy to see that she is pushing for reparation. But I kind of, the more she was talking, I'm like, it's nothing for these white people to figure out. They know what they've done. It's going to come down to we, the black people. We, the black people, have to decide what you want and not pussyfoot around with it and demand, not beg, not stick your hands out. Everybody get money, but you people sit back drinking the Kool-Aid on the plantation and not demanding. As I've stated many times, we let Barack Obama get away with it 2 terms. He could have addressed it. Well, it was addressed.
Oh, God, here we
Obama.
go.
Well, it's a fact. I have my ears on the platform, and I know people that sat in on that meeting with Barack Obama that first term. And one person had the courage, this young black man in the back room, raised his hands and said, "What are you going to do with reparation?" Yes, naturally, some of them handkerchief-wearing black people in there told him to be quiet, shut up. No, Barack Obama addressed it. He said, no, it's a valid question. He's right. And he said, make me go back to your constituents and make me deal with it. Well, we went back and nobody made him deal with it. So this is going to come up and it's going to happen. And if you look across the country, there are organizations, as quietly as the press is saying it, as quietly as a lot of us is talking about it, there are black organizations across the country pushing for reparation. And the steam is going to build, and it's building more. And as much as these candidates now, this whole debate coming up on the gay community, fine. If they want to have their debate, talk about what? I mean, you're going to tell me, see, here we go with the Democrat machine and the money again. You can't have a debate of reparation and make all those candidates show up and state, give me your opinion about the whole platform, the whole debate, everything deals with reparation. And now you're going to hear what they got to say. But that won't happen.
It could happen.
That's quite.
It could happen. It may not be something that like comes from a traditional source, but it could happen. If you're waiting for the Democrats to do it, it probably won't happen.
Nathan, how do you have this debate? When is this next debate coming down with the gay community? When is that?
The gay community?
LGBT?
I don't know.
The LGBT. I think it's a debate coming up. What is it? Next week, I think.
Yeah, there's one coming up next week, the week after, the 13th, I believe. It's going to be here in Ohio, but I don't believe it's an LGBTQ.
Well, it's something coming down the pipe. One of those debates, from what I was told, deals with the LGBTQ, whatever that platform is.
Okay.
The whole debate is going to deal with the gay community.
Well, I would think I would be down with a debate where the whole thing was about just black issues, not just about reparations. Although, if it was about reparations, I'm down with that too.
Okay, if you want to put it that way, then half of it should be dealing with reparation. Make white people across the country sit and turn on their TVs.
But they're not going to watch that.
As much as that. Well, fine. That's no problem.
Most white folks won't watch that. I don't think anyway. Because they're not interested in it.
As much as these white people across the country, as well as this Congress and the Senate and the Republicans and Democrats don't want to deal with it, they're going to deal with it. If not, they're going to have some bigger issues than what they think they're going to have by not dealing with a reparation. We paid everybody. We built this country. We built this platform, and you're going to let them get away with it? I mean, you got to demand. If you don't demand, then it's not going to happen. And now, just before I get to Amber, quickly, not too many people saw 60 Minutes about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The lead story was on this Israeli software company, billion-dollar corporation. And trust me, the Israeli government got that. This guy makes $1 billion, and what he does is hack into a country's system. So his software, his platform is probably, you pay him to deal with his software. So, America has whatever he has, and the Israeli government has it, and how many other countries? Russia probably has it. So this is a dangerous situation. We saw what happened in 2016. We saw what happened in 2018. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen next year. So because nobody has dealt with the hacking that goes on in the system, how it's being controlled.
Right. We get it.
So
we've heard it before, John. I get it.
So let's end with the Amper situation. This, I'm sorry I missed the show. I know you came up late and yesterday because you're dealing with car issues. We don't have that problem. But as I watched the CNN show in the sentencing of this woman, I'm totally against what this brother did, and I'm totally against what that damn judge did. She stepped over the line. Now, you saw him sit there and say, he's weeping and crying like a little wussy. Please, Judge, I want to give her a hug. Are you crazy? This guy set us back 300 years by doing this. So basically what he did and what the judge did is license these cops to do more than what they've done before. So, it's bad enough, these cops think they're judge, jury, and executioners, but to get up there and give her a hug and a kiss and then send her off to the sunset, 10 years? Are you kidding me? I'm guessing, she's going to get somewhere from 25 to maybe life. 10 years? Was this jury looking at the same trial we was looking at? So in other words, you're going to snuff out this young man's life and say, we're going to give her 10 years. And we're here and the judge, let me give you a hug too. And take the Bible. Take the Bible. Maybe this will change your life. The hell with her. Lock her butt up. You're going to send us back 300 years. And you're going to send a message. You're going to send a message to all of these cops. You can do whatever you want to do. And if they convict you, we're going to just give you a fluff. Maybe you can tell me, what was the makeup of that jury? And what I was told, the makeup was 9 women and 5 men. And also, I want to know, how did she decide? And I found this out yesterday, and I didn't know this. How did the judge allow her to decide who do you want to convict you, the jury or the judge? Naturally, her lawyer said, I'll take my chances with the jury. 9 women and 6 men? This was a setup, a complete setup. A setup. It was all a setup. And the jury, with her crocodile tears on her blonde hair, they bought into that. I want to know who went for conviction for her to be locked up long term, and who gave her less. I would love to know that. How did they come up with this verdict? I'd like to know that.
John, thank you for your call. I appreciate it.
Have a nice day.
Take it easy. Hit all the topics. Appreciate it. He said that Botham John's family set us back 300 years. Now, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. Don't you think? I think that's just a little bit of an exaggeration. I don't know. Just a little bit, maybe. Just a little bit. Nate, your boy thinks you and him are in a bar chatting just between the two of you. He does. He does. TNT writes, but we are stronger than that. We need more unity, like Yvette said, an organized effort to take this government and make it for the people. We have the judicial candidates on the NAACP Facebook page. Make sure you check it out and see the faces and party affiliations. Your ballot will not show the party affiliation. Share and educate. Get your loved ones prepared to vote. Cerinthia writes, John said, have a nice day, like he's sick of Nathan's ish. He is. He mad at me because I'm kind of like, hey, okay, time's up. Let's get to the next call. He mad at me. I heard it in his voice too, Cerinthia. I heard it. Like, how dare you tell me to speed it up, buddy? Don't you know who I am? I'm John from Princeton, New Jersey. But going back to Yvette and also what TNT was saying, because I thought that was just potentially powerful. She's very, very right. She said organizing. here in the city of Cincinnati, Hamilton County. She said when she goes to other cities, she sees it. Here, she don't see it so much. As we get ready for 2020, what are we going to do different this time than we did the last election cycle? We get ready for 2020. What are we going to do different this time than we did the last election cycle? You let me know. I don't know. Mason Marler writes, the Black Baptist ministers sold out Yvette Simpson. Did they? Cerinthy writes, John sounds less creepy today. Just joking, Mr. Burns. I mean, Zorro. TNT writes, how did the people's candidate, Yvette, not beat Cranley? Why is it so hard to remove corruption and put in good people who we know are for the people? What is it, Cincinnati? Well, she said the corporate community, sets the standard, and then people seem to follow. Maybe that's what it is. Tony writes, oh, damn, John, I'm going to the mailbox. John had great flows. Before we get too deeper, though, I got to say condolences to Kiki and her family. I know that she recently lost somebody very, very close to her. Was it her father that had passed away? And I offered some condolences online. I'm not sure if she's listening. Probably not. She got other things going on, but she's part of fam here. Lifetime chopper from the very beginning. And I really appreciate her. And again, thoughts and prayers and condolences are with her. That great circle of life. We know what happens. You live and you must. Exactly. It's going to happen to every one of us. So the way I look at it is that she lost her mom. I'm sorry, not her father. She lost her mom. So definitely prayers up for Kiki today and this weekend. Please keep her in your thoughts and prayers as we do all the choppers, man, when something's going on. Most definitely. Yes, I like me some Kiki. Love intelligent, strong black women. Nothing like it. Nate, your boy, I think I read that. John's strategy is to not vote until the government is ready to listen to your demands. Good strategy. Yeah, that's John's strategy. John's strategy is he's not going to vote until the government listens to him. That's like saying I'm not going to pay for something until you give it to me. I ain't paying for a damn thing until you give it to me. Right? Yeah, John sent me a message like, ask her about reparations, but I already know. I wanted to get her thoughts on it and her organization. I think that's quite interesting. Well, listen, tomorrow's going to be a big day. Tomorrow's a big day. Throw it up, because tomorrow Tracy Hunter is set to be released. Is that correct? I believe so. Throw it up. Throw it up. Yeah, and it'll be interesting, what she says once she is released. Be very, very interesting. Because I've heard some not so good things about what's going on down there at the JC. And so I put the word out just to see if anybody, would respond. And I did get a couple of responses from some people who were recently released from the so-called JC, that's the Justice Center. Oh, by the way, Monday we're going to talk with Janaea Trotter. I don't think that's going to be our only conversation with Janaea Trotter, but Monday we'll talk with Janaea Trotter. Now, I know Janaea, I like Janaea, but this is politics. This is bigger than personality, right? This is about the people. So I have been developing my questions and thinking about this, really putting some thought into what I want to ask. And I'll be ready. I'm looking forward to it. If you've got some questions for Janaea Trotter, please let me know. Okay? Please let me know. All right? Because I'd love to perhaps add them to my questions and, we can put together a really good interview. Okay? The only reason why I'm doing these interviews is so we can have some portal into what these people think and what's going on to educate before we get to, the election, which is going to be in November for that particular race. Now, remember, in that race, you got two black females, one a Democrat, one a Republican. Make of that what you will. Okay? Now, my style. I've said this from day one. I don't have a problem with somebody being a Republican. I don't have no problem with it. If you can articulate that shit and it makes sense. I don't want to hear the yabba dabba dee. My father was I don't want to hear all of that. I mean, you should be able to articulate. And also, I do have some question marks. I mean, just in general. Again, I said I'm extremely biased. I'm biased against the dumb shit. But I do have some questions for any black person who is a Republican. I have to ask you. You know, there's something that has to be reconciled because of what we see from the Republican Party. It ain't just because it's the Republican Party. It's because of what we see in particular for our community. So look for that. I'm getting ready for it. Hold on. It was also confirmed we'll speak with the superintendent next week on, let me double check here. Well, let me double check because I'm going to take a break about 10:15 a.m. this morning. I'm with you until 11. And, of course, don't forget the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B will be live at 12:30 because I'm on a little bit late, so 12:30. Let me go to the phones here. Let me bring in, I believe this is Drop, so we can drop some knowledge for anybody that's trying to catch it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. How are you doing, sir?
I'm ready for that knowledge. I'm doing great. Welcome.
Mr. Ivy, I don't know what to say, sir. I was like lost. I didn't have your show yesterday, Mr. Ivy.
I'm sorry, man. Believe me, I didn't like it, but I had some serious.
I hear you.
Same thing happened again today, as a matter of fact. So my car is like sitting in my driveway right now. Won't start, won't do anything. I'll deal with it later.
But Mr. Ivy, you know that things like this happen right before something big is getting ready to happen in your life. You know that, right?
Oh, I already know, B.
You already know. All right. So, Mr. Ivy, the reason I call, sir, is the state of the Democrat Party and their fake impeachment. Huh? Now, obviously, I didn't hear your show yesterday, but I did listen to the replay, Mr. Ivy, and I've been listening this morning. And I didn't hear Yvette Simpson, but I do watch her on the Sunday morning talk shows on ABC. But, Mr. Ivy, did she mention that the Democrats are starting to panic?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I will explain to you that the whole impeachment or fake impeachment of Donald Trump has now officially blown up in the face of the Democrats. And what's happening across the country at the Desperate Democrat town hall meetings is another example of why Donald Trump is getting closer and closer to being reelected next year. I know you've seen the clip, Nate, because it's everywhere. Hashtag is already trending. And it was the AOC town hall meeting. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. Because I know you are a powerful, influential member of the media. I know you have that video ready to go if you choose to play it.
I don't. Now, what video is this now?
AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had a town hall meeting last night talking about climate change and the Green New Deal. And she was getting ready to wrap up, and there was like one or two questions left, and this young lady stands up, and she started talking about how we only have months to go, and it is so urgent that we must consider eating babies. Nate, I am not lying. And you should have seen the look on AOC's face. I mean, I got to give it to her for a freshman politician. She stood there, and the security kind of came, and they kind of rushed her out a little bit. The looks on the people's face. It was a small town hall. Maybe it looked like maybe 40 or 50 people. But, Mr. Ivy, the clip is everywhere. Hashtag eat the babies. And so, with things like this going on,
I don't understand.
All I'm saying.
So a crazy woman stood up and said some dumb shit. What does that have to do with AOC?
I'm talking about this. I said the state of the Democrat Party, Nate.
Well, how's that the state of the Democrat Party? That's just one person that stood up and said some dumb shit.
Okay, well, if you want to look at it that way, that's fine, because like I told you, Mr. Ivy, I just call it like I see it, okay?
So what does
You
this
can say I'm
represent to you,
caping
though?
or whatever, but I'm calling it like I see it, and you know I do have an eye for Democrat politics.
Yeah, but I don't understand how if a woman, so they're having a town hall meeting, which means it's open to the
Mm-hmm.
public. People come there, they don't
Right.
really know who's there. Somebody stands up and says something stupid like, let's eat the babies. How is that a reflection on the Democrat Party?
Because this is a presidential campaign, Nate, and all of the Democrat candidates during the previous debates have all 100% gotten behind AOC and the Green New Deal. So when things are discussed at the town hall meetings, especially now, Nate, when these town halls were designed to get people excited about impeaching Trump. But then this lady stands up, and this organization that she represents, Eat the Babies, there's other videos of them, Nate. She is a product of this Green New Deal, climate change, scaring the hell out of people. And this was a young lady. She looked like she had to be in her 20s. Very young lady. Then you had the lady from Australia last week who was at the UN, 16-year-old Greta, who gave that speech on climate change. All I'm saying, Nate, this is where the Democrat Party is right now, okay? It's a reason that Nancy Pelosi chose to take this strategy against Donald Trump, Nate, because their internal polling
Because he broke
is
the law.
showing that, yes.
Yeah, that's the reason why they're doing it is because they think that he broke the law, and it's an impeachable offense. So
But
that's
Nate,
why they're
they
doing it.
already know you cannot indict a sitting president. What are they talking about?
Okay, so now I'm
The
reading.
country has been through this with Mueller already, Nate.
I admit that I
This is
wasn't.
no difference.
I admit that I wasn't caught up on the whole eat the babies thing, but I'm reading. There's an article from Gizmodo. Take it for what it is. Viral video about eating babies at AOC town hall was staged by pro-Trump group. Have you read this?
Of course, Nate.
You did read this.
Nate, what did I tell you about politics? I keep telling you, Nate, this is what we are going to see going forward.
Yeah, but
You have
it's called the LaRoche PAC. It's a far-right group that supports Donald Trump, and they're
Nate.
now taking credit for that whole thing. So how
I don't care, Nate. Nate, the same thing could have happened at a Trump rally. But, I mean, what's the point in saying, oh, it could have been a plan? Duh. I mean, Nate, it's politics. What are you talking about?
The point is that this is no sign of the desperate Democrats. This is more a sign of the desperate Republicans. Because that's like a desperate...
No, Nate.
That seems desperate
Nate,
to me.
Nate, you need to talk to your boy PG about political strategy. Okay, Nate? Infiltration of political campaigns and infiltration of town hall meetings go on both sides. Both sides have opposition research.
Yeah, we know that.
Sides, I'm telling you, Nate, they all politicians. They all do the same thing.
Yeah, but this is
political strategists and political operatives do the same thing regardless of the party.
You're trying to clean this up because you first said
I'm not.
Was all the Democrats.
I'm giving you facts.
This is an example of the Democrats. They desperate, and it turns out that this is a far right leaning Trump PAC that doesn't believe in climate change. They think it's a hoax. So they staged this whole event at the AOC press conference or public event just so it could get picked up in the media and people like you could come out and blame the Democrats for it. And you fell for it.
I didn't blame anybody. I said this is the state of the Democrat Party in this election year in the climate of fake impeachment. This was at a town hall meeting, Nate, okay? Now, again, like I told you earlier, it wasn't a lot of people. So as far as you know, okay, it could have been other people there as plants. You don't know. You don't know who's who unless you go to her website and find out if these people were vetted before they were let in. Because you know they do that at political functions. They tell you leave your cell phone, they vet you, you got to sign up first. It's basically RSVP. So again, Mr. Ivy, that's not what I'm here to talk to you about. I mean, I'm just telling you the condition of the Democrat Party and their whole fake impeachment. Again, last week, Donald Trump raises $125 million. Joe Biden raises 15. The top five combined raised less than Donald Trump and the RNC in the third quarter, along with his polling numbers. And then Glenn from Mason, the chop shop overseer, gets on here the other day talking about Trump's in his 30s. That was a poll that only had 800 registered voters, 800 people, Nate, for them to come up with that 37%. So my whole point, Nate, because I can see this stuff coming a mile away. All I'm telling you, Nate, it's almost 2 weeks into this fake impeachment. The Democrats will be coming back next week. And all I'm just saying, Nate, it's not turning out the way they intended. And I don't even have to talk about the first orange president, because we already know. He don't back down. He doubles and triples down. So his conduct is not even worth talking about, okay? The focus should be on who's going to be the next president. And right now, the Democrats aren't doing that well. That's all I'm saying, Nate. I know we're almost a year away, but I'm just telling you, Nate, it's not looking good. So I know you may disagree, but you did agree with me on this whole impeachment thing, and it's turning out exactly the way you said it.
I don't remember. What do you mean I agree with you? When I thought it was a waste of time initially?
Yes.
I question whether it was a waste of time. I mean, that's still out there. We'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, you were wrong today in what you said, Rob. You tried to make it seem like the Democrats was playing some kind of games, and it was really some Trump guys. Some pro-Trump guys.
How?
I just told
you. What did I say? Nate, when I first came on, all I told you is what happened at her town hall meeting.
Yeah, and you
I
said
didn't say
it was an
who it
example of
was.
desperate Democrats.
I didn't say nothing.
Blah, blah, blah. That's what you said. I mean,
okay, Nate. Okay. Okay, all right, okay. Okay, so let me ask you this, Nate.
Yes,
when I say climate change or associated with those two things.
Say again, sir? I missed it. I'm sorry.
If I say climate change or Green New Deal, which political parties are associated with those two things?
Climate change and Green New Deal. Of course, that would be the Democrat Party.
Okay, so even if it was a plant, okay, you know how the internet and social media is, okay? The message is out there. And even if it was a plant, it's still going to be associated with the Democrat Party, because these type of things have already been said in the past.
Okay.
And I guarantee you it wasn't said by the organization that put this plant at the AOC town hall meeting. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Ivy. It's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. And I'm walking. Drop Squad 52. Dropping science to anyone who wants to take it. Be safe in them streets, choppers. Peace.
That's drop right there. Appreciate the flows. Yeah, man, he'll take any opportunity to diss the Democrats. It don't matter. Even if it don't make sense, he gonna take the opportunity. So let me move on here. I see that I'm going back here about maybe almost a week. I'm a little bit late on this because I didn't see it. But I see that back on September 30th, Alicia Reese posted something real interesting. I'm trying to decipher this. She posted the longest Facebook post I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a Facebook post this long. Damn, this was her manifesto. But when I read some of it, it seemed like some people was fucking with Alicia Reese. That's what it looked like. I don't know. I don't have no insights. Ain't nobody told me nothing. I'm reading this. Let me read just a little bit from this, and I'm going to go straight to Glenn information real quick. This is Alicia Reese on September 30th. If you don't know who Alicia Reese is, she's most recently, she's the representative of the Fighting 33rd. You know, when we talk to Cedric Denson, he steps in from time to time. That district was formerly held for a long time by Alicia Reese, black female. And she's also one that gave you your voter Bill of Rights. The last time I saw Alicia Reese was, I don't know, about a week or so ago. And she was saying that she was going to be running for Hamilton County Commissioner. And then I'm reading this. I have helped so many people along the way because that's what I have been about. But many have tried to stab me in the back. Those days of supporting these negative people are over, she writes. No one has ever given me anything. I had to work against odds to get it in 1999. And then she goes in. And at the very end, she says she's starting a movement. She got a number where you can call if you want to join. So, no, I got to talk to Alicia Reese. What happened? What happened? I mean, she goes through what amounts to be like her resume. It's like a Vita. And she talks about all the things that she's done. So what happened? She talks about being in the room, not being in the room. I know somebody knows. But you may not be at liberty to share. But I'd like to get the inside track, but you know me. I'll just send a message to Miss Reese to see if she's available to come on the show. She can tell us herself. She can tell us herself. That is wild. That is wild. Hold on a second here because I want to see, I think I missed a couple. Glenn, if I missed you, man, call me right back. I'll shut up and put you on. But I wanted to get that out about Alicia Reese before we leave. We still on the air till about 11. Oh, this is wild. Is that right? She writes, I've backed, supported, and campaigned for so many candidates, even their critical first runs. Hashtag roll call coming soon. Many I've helped have tried to stab me in the back while God has protected me. Now I'm not perfect because God said I never will be. So I stay humble, and it's amazing how some people think they can use you to move themselves up, but it never works. If you don't see me in a room, know I'm building a movement, she said. She writes. This is Alicia Reese. What in the fuck? Why didn't y'all tell me this, man? Y'all are remissing y'all duties if you don't tell me. Come on now. If you see this and you don't hear me, something of this nature, and you don't hear me talking about it, you know there's a problem now. I need to know. And I know you know. But let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What up, though, Nate?
You found a way to get in, huh? Nah, B. I had to put him on ice. Because the last time you called in, you was super disrespectful. We don't tolerate that. So we're going to sit you down for a spell, son. You know, we're going to see. I don't care what number you call in. It's a wrap for you. You too damn disrespectful. I ain't got time for that. Save it, kid. We'll talk to you in about 6 months, if I can remember. But my line is available, 513-873-7134. I'm glad you like the show, but show more respect when you get in here. You're among kings. We ain't taking that. Talking super greasy. Never that. Mason Mahler writes, Drop got a new movie coming out, The Revenge of Stephen Django. The second. That's funny. I'll never forget that scene, boy, in Django, when they shot the character played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He was screaming at the top of his lungs, oh, Master Weed got shot. It was hilarious. Mason Mahler writes, why are you warning me, Nate? I'm not. No, I'm just saying the door's open. I was talking to Black Lion, who just called in. You know, it was Black Lion who just called him. Mason Mahler writes, unrack him. That call was whack as hell. Old lion-ass nigwa. Daniela Bailey, what's up, Donnie B? She writes, Alicia Reese might drop the haters. Yes, she did. I don't know what happened. You know, I'm remiss because I would have jumped on a little bit earlier just to see what's going on with the sister. Then there's a whole bunch of hashtags. Hashtag chestnut checkers. Hashtag checkmate. Hashtag self-made legacy. Hashtag my marathon continues. Hashtag mediocrity is never an option. Hashtag bigger than politics. So does this have something to do with the Hamilton County Commissioner's race? What's going on? What's going on? Let me look at these messages here and see what I can glean. Because you know how it is, man. I'm like, reading Facebook posts is like a brand new pastime now. Oh, I see you, Donnie B. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We don't know. And I don't know if we're going to find out. But I thought that was interesting. A little bit of local something here. She went down the resume. Now, what would make this sister feel like she had to go on Facebook and write down her resume. Well, I mean, logically speaking, it feels as if maybe somebody called her resume or, her gravitas or whatever into question. So she had to let them know, like, boom, see, I don't know anything. I'm just reading between the lines here, right? I'm signifying, kind of. That's it. But I'm curious, what's this is all about? Let me see some of the other posts. See here, she got like 300 responses here, various folks. Some of these names I can recognize, some of them don't. A lot of people there. Yeah, a lot of people I recognize. Quite interesting. I don't know. Sounds like somebody was talking ish to her. She had to let them know. But what really caught me was when she said, roll call coming soon. Really? Let us know. Give us a countdown. Give us a countdown so we know. Look at me just stirring the pot. I know. I'll stop. Mike Jones writes, Alicia's has been marginalized for a while now. She should have been mayor, but we know certain black people will sell her out, shaking my damn head. Mason Marler writes, BL stands for back later. Yeah, it appears that it does. Yeah. TNT writes, Drop, you killing us, brother. Drop was out there. He was out there. Everything, I don't see everything as the Democrat plot or a Republican plot per se. Somebody goes to a town hall meeting and stands up and does something kooky. That's not necessarily a reflection on the people that is putting together the town hall. I mean, how much control do you really have over a situation like that? Not a lot. We shall see. All right, where are we at? I just watched the E-Babies clip. It's funny, some Tom Green type prank-ish. Well, he talked about it so much, then maybe we should go ahead and play this clip. So somebody stood up and said, eat the babies. As it turns out, this woman was a representative of a pro-Donald Trump PAC that doesn't believe in climate change. They believe that climate change is a hoax. So what do? Well, they get people to go out and stage these kind of, these kind of public displays. And they already took responsibility for it through the media because they want to draw attention for themselves. They want everybody to know it was us. We need to eat the babies. It's the stupidest shit ever, man. I mean, if I was in the room, I'd have been just rolling my eyes like, oh boy, here we go. Crazy time. It's crazy time. It's quite amazing. Let me see if I can pull this up for you, and you can hear it for yourself. If you really want to hear this ish. Do you want to hear this? Bunky writes, Coon Babble. Yeah, drop was unwrapped today.
For much long because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. You are so great. I'm so happy that you're really supporting the Green Deal, but it's not enough. Even if we would bomb Russia, we still have too many people, too much pollution. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies. And this is very serious. Please give a response.
Thank you. No, thank you. We'll go ahead. Okay. No, we'll go ahead. It's so no. Yeah, no. Thank you. So I think So one of the things that's very important to us is that we need to treat the climate crisis with the urgency that it does present. Luckily, we have more than a few months. We do need to hit net zero in several years. But I think we all need to understand that there are a lot of solutions that we have and that we can pursue, and that if we act in a positive way, there's space for hope. We are never beyond hope. Okay.
Well, we might get to a tipping point when it comes to climate change. Like I said, I've been talking about it for years. I believe it. that black people need to fight. They need to join the fight for climate change. That's a serious issue. It's kind of like we won't know how serious it is until we've gone too far, and it affects our children and our grandchildren. And I understand we caught up with criminal justice and the stuff that's going on now, but I think we can do two things at the same time, or not more. But that's what Drop was talking about. And AOC, I think she dealt with it well. You could tell, oh, this chick is crazy. Now, that woman was paid to do that by a PAC called the LaRoche PAC, which is pro-Trump and anti-climate change, or they don't believe in climate change. So they pay people to create these kind of stunts. So then it becomes the echo chamber, right? So they'll create somebody to create this kind of a stunt, and then Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and all the other sum total of conservative talk show hosts will look at this and say, look at the crazy Dems. They're so crazy. They're out of their mind. Look at when their representative, she stood up and said she liked AOC, so you know she must be a Democrat. And she said some dumb shit about eating babies. And they try to use that to try to make the whole movement look like it's full of idiots. Like, oh, these people are just crazy. Look at them. And it was all theater, and Drop fell for it. He fell for it. Mike Jones writes, what kind of answer was that as a politician? Her first response should have been, we are not going to eat babies. You could see in her face, though, that she knew it was BS. There were several women, primarily black women. It was not primarily, but a lot of black women were in the audience. And as the camera was panning, you could see their faces. And the face was, this is some bullshit. That's what the face was. It was like, what is this? What the hell? What is this garbage? Come on, people. Listen, I want to talk about what you want to talk about today. What is on your mind? 513-873-7134. It's been one hell of a week with this Amber Geiger stuff. Man, it's been nonstop. And now that the trial is over, the memes have not stopped. My most favorite meme, Amber, what's your favorite Amber Geiger meme or GIF? My favorite is the one where somebody took the face of Steven from the movie Django and superimposed it on the little brother. Now, that's mean. I know I ain't perfect for saying that. I know I ain't perfect. But that's how I feel. So it was hilarious. Oh, my God. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a brother. It was the black female judge because he's got a robe on. And a lot of people took exception to that because you got brothers that go to jail and didn't even commit the fucking crime. Ain't nobody hugged them. You got motherfuckers who ain't even commit the crime. Nobody hugged them. Nobody give you no Bible. Nobody shed any tears and prepare your hair as you're getting ready to be let off to lock up. So, I don't know. I mean, damn. I just love the age we live in because people can communicate in so many different ways. And I'll say it again. I've been saying it since I saw the movie. My wife won't even look at Django. I ain't looking it down. Too much N-word. I ain't in the mood for that, right? I know people that just won't watch the movie. That movie is worth it just to see the performance of Samuel Jackson. He should have won an Oscar for his portrayal of a house Negro. I don't think there's ever been a better portrayal of a house Negro in the history of all the movies who have ever been made. It is worth your time just for the ironic hilarity of it, if you can laugh at those kind of things. I thought it was quite entertaining myself. One of the better parts of that movie, which is very violent. Very violent. So oh no. Who this nigga? Remember that? Django Chain, man. And then when Candy died, let me see if I can find that audio. When I think his master, the guy played by Leonardo DiCaprio, I think his name was Candy. And I'm going to spoil it for you a little while, but he gets popped in a movie. And Steven goes into his Steven act, and let me just tell you, it is hilarious. I'm sorry. I guess I just got a dark sense of humor for certain things, but it was hilarious. Like, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, no! He ran across the room, jumped on him, like he wanted to take the bullet. What is your most favorite GIF or meme you've seen from Amber Geiger? It's a Friday. I want to lighten up just a little bit. Also, if you got a chance to hear my interview with Yvette Simspon, what are your residual thoughts, if any? Blue Magic writes, if I'm murdered and any piece of my family hugs the murderer after the trial, beat the ish down that family member's leg. Please and thank you. Right, I get you. Renee writes, it is straight comedy. It is. Straight comedy. Straight comedy. I'm telling you, I thought he should have won an Oscar. It was that powerful. Sam Jackson is one hell of an actor. He is one hell. I mean, the way he was standing over him, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'm laughing, but the shit is actually kind of creepy. It really is. It's creepy funny, kind of like that. It ain't just straight funny. It's creepy funny, like, oh, this is a little bit uncomfortable. He's just too close to the character. Kind of like watching Us. Drop writes, eat the babies, your 2020 Democrat Party. See, he gonna steal. You know what, Drop? You get an A for your stick-to-itiveness. Because everybody knows that's some BS, but you still trying it. That man is not gonna give up. That's funny. Blue Magic writes, I've never eaten a baby. Now I have some. What? I can't read that. This is the kind of foolishness that made Barack famous, right? It is. Mason Marler writes, LOL, I can't believe Drop tried to pass that ish off. Thanks for playing the clip, Nate. You know, once he said that, I had to play the clip so you could hear just how deranged and crazy it was. Now, that's the Democrats' fault. Because a Republican PAC paid a woman to get up there and play like she was Danish and say some dumbish. And she probably practiced that. Just think about the time they spent coming up with the idea. They had a little T-shirt. She took her shirt off. She had a T-shirt that read, eat the babies. And this is all done in an attempt to ridicule the idea that CO2 emissions and the sum total of the impact of humankind on the planet is not having an impact on our weather systems. When, if you're in your 30s, if you're 35 or so, I say if you're at least 30, 35, 40, you have been alive long enough, if you've been living in the same spot. Like if you live in Cincinnati, if you've been living in Cincinnati for at least 20 years, you can't tell me that you don't see a difference in the climate. And if you're born and raised in Cincinnati, especially there's a difference. It's small, but profound at the same time. We all know it. We all know it. That was crazy. Tanika's on top of it. She writes, this sounds fake. See, black women can see through that BS real quick. That's why they were able to see through the Russian plots and the bots and Hillary's disastrous campaign and her history. Black women in 2016 saw through all of that. They saw through all that shit with a laser focus. That's why I say the Democrats should listen to black women. Say it again, listen to black women. Mason Marler writes, I don't care, Nate, so facts don't matter now, Drop. Jesse writes, go back to sleep, Drop. TNT writes, fluffy at the top and burnt on the bottom. That's hilarious. I'm not sure what it means, but I find it hilarious. Tony writes, what relevance does this have? Crazy people talk crazy-ish. Drop, go back, greet people at Walmart. Yeah, everybody knows that was staged. That was super staged. Let me go back here. I want to go back to what you had to say about Yvette Simspon being on the air. See, and if you have any residual thoughts, if you missed it, Jared writes, dope interview. Thank you. You know, it's funny how things work, man. I think for me, I look at Yvette Simspon, and you can just take it like an example. Like, you never know where life is going to lead you. Like, when she was running, I remember, like, there was a mood behind closed doors. It was kind of like, well, damn, this ain't looking too good, right? And so from that lens, you know, to what's going on now with her, it just goes to show you that, you know, for me, you just got to do shit. You just got to just do it with courage and just put your foot out there and every day put another foot in front of the other and keep moving in the right direction. And you never know what's going to happen. I say it all the time. I never anticipated going online and starting a show and starting to send digital and working on podcasts. wasn't my forte. I'm a talk show host. But one step after another kind of leads you into a different direction. And I've met so many great people. Like, I'm cool with people now. I've met a lot of friends, a lot of new associates that I never would have made, even working at what appears from the outside looking in to be a media channel that would give you like a really, really high profile or a higher profile in a community. But it's just funny how things can look a certain way, but they're not really a certain way. And I think the real moral is, like she said, one door closes, another door opens. If you're moving to open doors, like if you laying around ain't doing shit, ain't nothing gonna happen for you. But if you're trying to make some shit happen, doors are open. Couple things before we roll out of here. And again, I'm not leaving until the top of the hour, but I want to say condolences to Kiki, and she lost her mom. You know what I'm saying? Chopper fam, the squad up and send our thoughts and prayers to her. Very, very important. I support Kiki. She supports me. She's a long-time listeners from the day one. Kicked off the show. So condolences to her. It's a very, very difficult time. Very difficult. My mother's still alive. I value even every phone call, every interaction I have with my mother, a.k.a. Chairman Mom, because she had to be a dictator to raise 5 boys all by herself, much like Chairman Mao, fascist Chinese leader. He killed a lot of people. But Chairman Mom, and that's an affectionate term that she's now adopted. But Chairman Mom, though, I love every phone call because I know she's older now and, anything could happen. So, again, thoughts and prayers to Kiki. Absolutely. 100%. Bunky, what is there? Let me go back here. Going back. What's up, Cam? Good to see you. Pat writes, great call. So proud of you, Yvette. Mason Marler writes, ask Yvette if she fears the president's words about a civil war change the political debate and urgency to impeach Donald Trump. I missed that, or I would have asked. Bunky writes, Nathan Hernandez is live on the air today. Yeesh. That's right, I'm Nathan Hernandez today. Good morning to you, Ashley. I'm working backwards here. Jared writes, I got a question. Why can't I think I read that question. Look, if you missed it, it's worth going back and hearing what she has to say, and, the work that her organization is doing, and then her thoughts about what Cincinnati needs to do. I thought were very interesting. Yvette is making moves on a national level. Folks majoring in minors on a city level. Never defeated. More than a conqueror. Wow. Right? Good Mike. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Renee and Mike. I'm going way back to 2 hours ago, but I missed some things as we were moving to this point. Nate, I hope you don't have to go through another correction on the Eat the Babies. Well, if I do, I do. I'll just say, look, when I get more information, my opinion might change. No, I'm just, and again, this is just something I read. Like I said, I wasn't really prepared to talk about that this morning. But when you said it, it just piqued my interest. And I just know nowadays that sometimes people can get your story wrong. So it's better to go check for yourself. So I just do a quick Google search and I come up with this drop. So don't blame me. Blame the internet. Blame the internet. That's it. All right. Condolences to Kiki. A lot of condolences. Ray writes, good interview. Thank you. Never been a plant at a Republican town hall. Okay. So speaking of interviews, let's buckle up because here we go. It's school board time, and I certainly want to talk with every incumbent and every school board candidate. I am planning on doing that on this show. And the tone I'm taking for these interviews is aggressive. That is the tone that I'm taking. I'm telling everybody straight up right now. I'm taking an aggressive tone because that's what's needed. The school system got an overall D. I used to work at a public school, and ever since I left that school, they've got straight Fs, and the same administration's in place. Why am I saying this? Well, because Thursday we're going to speak with the school superintendent, and looking forward to that. And if you have questions, I'll open it up to you. I will ask your questions, okay? I will certainly ask your questions. If you want to put them in today's show, I'll circle back around, and I'll look through all the comments, and I will mine and glean your questions. I will ask any questions that you have, as long as they make sense. Don't ask me some dumb shit to ask this woman, because I'm not going to do that. But I don't anticipate that from this audience, except from maybe one or two. Okay. But for the most part, no. So just let me know. Let me know what that means. On Monday, we're going to speak with Janaea Trotter. I'm trying to get her opponent on at the same day so we can have a back-to-back so we can hear from these two women about this important position on the same day. Keep it all simple and clear to understand. Okay? That's Monday. And I'll let you know with the particular school board candidates when that's going to happen. Okay, it might be a short turnaround in some cases, but I'll let you know. Swear summer is hotter now. Yeah, these last couple of weeks has been, well, officially yesterday it was announced that Cincinnati's going through a drought. Sorrenthy writes, I'm going to quit talking about these cannibals and get ready for work. I thought it was a Republican thing. Drop Lil Becky being eaten up by her brother, Jimmy Ray, for years. Drop is pushing this real hard, huh? Yeah, he says he hopes I don't have to apologize. I don't know. Speaking of video, I've got another video for you as well as we talk about the presidential election, as we talk about the different candidates. One of those candidates is Kamala Harris. She's been dropping like a rock. She has been dropping like a rock. She was recently at a town hall and, you know, things didn't go too well. She was at a town hall. And I can kind of tell that maybe, I don't know if she was prepared or not, or who knows what was going on. But she's at a town hall. She asked the crowd a question like, are you ready for me? And she didn't get are you ready for me to be president? Are you ready for my presidency? And she didn't get the response that she was looking for. It didn't really go too well. I mean, hey, when you throw things out there, you're not always going to get what you're looking for. So she asked the audience if America is ready for her presidency. And the answer, well, I'm sure that the room was mixed. But you can clearly hear people yell, no! And it's like, oh, God. Why do we do this? Whose idea was it to say this? Okay. I want you to check this out, play it for you in just a second. If you want to chime in before the top of the hour at 11 a.m., 513-873-7134. Don't forget, the Is It Just Me podcast is coming up at 12:30. Donnie B, I'm sure, will be talking about some of the residual thoughts on Amber Geiger. And then also a case of a 13-year-old who was assaulted, bullied, assaulted by classmates who were also 13. Young man hits his head and dies. So the question is, especially in the wake of Amber Geiger, what should be the sentence? These young boys didn't mean to kill her or kill him. So what should be the sentence? Should we talk about that, among other things? And, of course, you can dial in the number using the same number, 513-873-7134. So Kamala Harris gets up. And again, I could tell that something was a little bit off when she took the stage, because it just, I don't know. She was speaking at a town hall event in Reno, Nevada, and she told the attendees that she wanted to engage in real talk about the state of 2020 race. Real talk, she said. And I'm just not really sure if she was prepared to hear what happened. But let me play this for you. You can determine for yourself. All right, check this out.
I'm at the stage of the campaign where I'm kind of like, I'm just going to engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else. Let's just have some real talk. So, real talk. In this election, in the last kind of maybe couple months, certainly a few weeks, there's this whole conversation that's been coming up about electability. Focused on our campaign. Is America ready for that? Well, yes, they are.
So it wasn't the entire crowd. It was just one person. But I'll be honest with you. And again, people get sick, being on the road, all that kind of stuff. But she seemed like she was a little bit under the weather. She was like, I don't know, she's like a little under the weather. That has nothing to do with what she said, per se. But she threw it out there. And she said, and somebody said, no.
Some real talk. So, real talk. In this election...
And I don't know if I like her saying, I'm at a stage of the campaign where I want to have real talk, because that implies that you weren't having real talk prior to this stage in the campaign. I'm not really sure if that's the right thing to say, but...
Let's just have some real talk. So, real talk. In this election, in the last kind of couple, maybe couple months, certainly a few weeks, there's this whole conversation that's been coming up about electability. Focused on our campaign. Is America ready for that? Well, yes, they are.
It's like an SNL skit. No! Well, yes, they are. She sounds like, I don't know, she on something, or maybe I don't know. Something seems a little bit off on Kamala, but you're just listening to the audio. I'm actually looking at her and reading her body language as well. Something seems a little bit off. Something's a little off. I don't know. The poll number suggests Kamala... Not looking good. We'll put it that way. Not looking good. Why do you think she didn't resonate with the so-called polling electorate, right? Because nobody's called me so far. I take that back. I did get a phone call. I did do a poll with some folks that was asking me some stuff that I didn't mind answering because it wasn't too sensitive. And it was all political in nature, like, do you plan on voting? And once they established that I planned on voting, they were asking me a bunch of questions about the Republicans. I think it was a Republican poll. And I let them know. Hell no. TNT writes, black people are always the deliverer while we are still waiting to be delivered. But why do you think that Kamala Harris just didn't resonate with people? That is not a flattering photograph. That's not a flattering photograph. Shame on Fox News for that. Bunky writes, Kamala sounded buzzed. Yeah. Tony writes, I think Kamala's trying too hard to be a girlfriend, and it just ain't sticking. Trying to be one of the girlfriends, right? Tanika writes, extremely irritating. Mike writes, her voice can be irritating. Damn. Kamala sounds like she's deflating, right? She does. That's another way of putting it, right? Maybe she's looking at the writing on the wall and can see that they're in the last days of this, and I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I like Kamala Harris being in the race for several reasons, not the least of which is her gender and race. I'm just being honest with you. I was just hoping that her being there would maybe take the conversation in different places. I mean, sue me if I'm wrong. I'm being honest. Mike Jones writes, that electability question is a dog whistle. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't think that was her best public moment. I think something was up. Tired, Xanax, something. Something was going on. But what do you think? 513-873-7134 if you would like to share your thoughts this morning. We've been talking about what else? People, politics, and pleasure. I haven't spoke too much on Amber Geiger. I feel like I spent every day this week talking about her, and I'm just not sure what's left to talk about. Except for this. The media caught up with the mother of a young black man that was, in the minds of some people, murdered by a white male police officer, and he got off. Remember the case from Ferguson? Yeah. And they caught up with the young man's mother, and they asked him if she felt the same way about the officer that killed her son as what appeared to be the way the Botham Jean family felt, at least the father and the brother. I didn't see the mother out there. But at least the father and the brother showed a lot of sympathy for Amber Geiger. The father said that he wanted to be friends. He hoped that one day he could be friends with Amber Geiger. What? Yeah, I ain't making it up. So they caught up with the mother of this murdered young man. And they asked her. And she said, hell to the no. Hell no, ain't what? There was also some protests that erupted down in Dallas because of her light sentence. And what I can share with you is now you're starting to see interviews with the particular jurors. I think Donnie B is going to focus on that later this today, so I'll leave that for her. But I do want to say that I think that the diversity of the jury was a key factor in the officer's conviction. I think that if the jury was not that diverse, then we wouldn't have seen this outcome, no matter what the circumstances were. So for me, I like to bring things home, even when we talk about these national stories, I like to bring them home and make them local. So for me, I look at it like, okay, well, let's examine the system in Cincinnati, in Hamilton County. What can be done? What can be done? What needs to be done so that we get more representation in terms of the jury? Now, I think there's big ways to look, like a macro plan and a micro plan. Maybe macro, big picture, long term would be changing the laws. There's already been some proposals that would change the way that we actually choose our jurist, right? Because people say using voter registration just is clumsy and is not the most efficient way. What would be some better ways? What are other cities doing? What are some of the better practices? Is there a city what major city in America has the highest African-American jury user rate? I'm spitballing here. Somebody might run with it. What do you think? And how did they achieve that rate? Did they change the way that you pull the names? Do they offer some type of support for people who might be working class people, meaning you got to work every day? You can't take tomorrow off. You can't take 2 days off just because you want to, unless, it's something that you've been planning a month or 3 weeks, sometimes in some cases longer than that, to get approved for your time off. Like, if you're in that case, what can be done to not persuade? Because I think a lot of people, I don't know, my take on it is I think a lot of people want to do it, but they get caught up with the money thing. Can I afford to do it? Jesse's doing jury duty right now. He got a good job, though, because this job's going, not to put your business out there, Jesse, but you talked about it yesterday, so I feel like it's fair game. But, his job, and that's not that uncommon. There's other jobs that will continue with your salary, and you get to keep the, the stipend you get from the county. Maybe that's what it is. You tell me. Tony writes, talk about a house divided. Moms ain't falling for murderous Becky like dad is. Right. I thought that was very interesting that you never saw mom talking about, oh, I'm going to hug the man that killed my son. I fully admit it. I'm a bad person. I guess I'm just a bad person because I don't see myself feeling that way. About somebody that just murdered my child. I don't see myself being like, you know what, give me a hug. I need a hug? I don't see that. I'm sorry. I got major problems with it. I see we got Donnie B calling in from the Is It Just Me podcast today at 12:30 p.m. Let's go to the lines and see what's up with Donnie B. What's up, Donnie B?
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So I wanted to chime in on your girl Kamala Harris and tell y'all what the problem is, because don't nobody want to say it, but as y'all know, I'm not afraid. So the problem with Kamala is black people can't wrap their head around her and figure out if she's really with us, because her husband is white, she's light-skinned, and she was a prosecutor. It's like the perfect storm of black people going, you know what, you're a sellout. People don't want to say, but most African Americans are not in support of interracial dating, and they tend to think that when you're a public official like that and your husband is white, that we're basically getting a watered-down white person in the office. So that's what's messing with black people. They're like, we don't know if you're really for us. And then even though we believe that people that commit crimes should go to jail, we pretty much support defense counsel. We are not on the side of the prosecutor at all. So you couple that with the fact that she was a prosecutor and did some things when she was a prosecutor that a lot of people perceive as not being for us, like the marijuana convictions and a whole bunch of other stuff. Then you couple that with her being fair-skinned, which to me, that shouldn't matter. That's not her fault. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily a negative. But there tends to be a light-skin versus dark-skin battle in the African-American community. And like it or not, there's two sides of the coin on that. If she was dark-skinned, if her husband was black, and she wasn't a prosecutor, i.e. Michelle Obama, we would love her. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, those are the big threes that are a problem for her.
Mm-hmm. I can see all of that. I definitely see all of
So
that. I think
I
you're on point.
It can be overcome, but I think the only way you overcome it is by her, like she said, I want to get real at that town hall, but she wasn't. It was still some watered down intellectual shit. I'm like, she's going to have to show us her why for black people. Like, she's going to have to show us that she really is a sister girl, home girl, despite her white husband, despite her life of privilege, and despite her position as a prosecutor. She's going to have to show us, if I become president, what is my why? Here's why I want to be president, and here's what I'm going to do for black folks. Now, here's what I'm going to do for the country. What am I going to do for black people? And I feel like she hasn't done that. So people are just looking at her like, we hate Trump, but we're not sure if you're more of the same or just some other shit that we still can't get down with. So I just wanted to call in.
Or even
and
worse.
be like, that's my take.
Because the one thing about Trump is you know where he is, you know where he stands. It's worse to have somebody that look like you get close to you, stab you in the back because they're closer that way. So you're right. We've seen that kind of politician before. Right. We've seen this before.
Right. Come on, Colin Powell. Come on, your boy Clarence Thomas. And it's like, we're to the point where it's real out here in these streets. It's not a game. So anybody that's not direct with it, like, yo, I'm black. I've always, like, my slogan is always, I'm black for real. And you can see that I'm black for real in my message and what I stand for, what I support, what I don't support, my feelings on certain shit. And there's a lot of politicians out there that are black and skin tone only. But when you listen to them, I'm like, they're not even talking about anything that's relevant to the African American space. Like, I've yet to hear Kamala get down and talk about something that as an African American female in this country I actually care about. I'm still stuck, like, what is your why? And I think her ratings were the highest when she doubled down on Joe Biden about the discrimination and civil rights history that he had, because that was some shit that we could relate to. But then I think her base must have told her, you going too black, you need to bring it back the other way. And now her polls are going down because she's back at the watered down white people shit that nobody cares about. So that's just me.
Mm-hmm. What's on tap for today on the show?
Say it again?
I said, what do you plan on talking about today on the show?
Oh, I'm gonna do Amber Geiger. I got some different takes on it. I've been going through Facebook, checking out all the different perspectives, and then two of the jurors came out this morning and spoke, which I told y'all they would, to give us some insight, about why they ruled the way they, decided the way they did. So I'm gonna talk about that today. I'm gonna talk about the case with the 13-year-old kid that supposedly murdered, this other kid. I'm gonna talk about my take on that because I think murder is a strong word that really doesn't need to be put on these kids. I'm gonna talk about your boy Jay-Z and the whole J-Lo situation, the Super Bowl halftime show, and then just listen. So people just feel free to call in. I think some of my views on stuff may shock some folks, may enlighten or outrage some folks. We'll see.
Okay, looking forward to it.
All right, sir.
All right, Donnie B.
Talk to you later.
Yep, keeping it real. Here's what people have to say. TNT writes, well, damn, Donnie B, sipping tea. Mason Muller writes, a watered down white person, question mark, LMBO. I'm sorry, LMBAO. Donnie B is a trip. It ain't just you, Donnie B. I agree. Let me see here. Drop writes, I told y'all Kamala be smoking. Or Kamala be smoking. Tony writes, good point. Quote, I was that girl on the bus. The bus ain't enough. Right. Mm-hmm. Bunky writes, yeah, he did, Tony. Black man's kryptonite. With a fat butt. What? Mason Muller writes, I need to know if Kamala can percolate. Then she'll get my vote, LOL. Really? Oh, boy. I agree. Do you agree with Donnie B? Mike Jones writes, I'm with Elizabeth Warren. She takes complex policy and explains it in simple terms, sort of like Obama. Both former college professors. Does she? Okay. Right? Down with that. I want to remind you that on October the 13th, there's going to be multiple opportunities for you to participate in a free health fair day. It's the First Ladies Health Fair Day, and they're going to be providing this opportunity at 12 different locations throughout the city. It kicks off on October the 13th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and you can get free flu shots, free mammograms, and free health screenings for adults and children in Cincinnati. Find doctors and physicians in Cincinnati accepting new patients. Get self-care ideas, tips, activities, and plans. Vouchers for free dental screenings at all locations. Your health matters because health is wealth. So seriously think about attending the Family Health Day. It's a free Cincinnati Health Screening Day. This is the 5th year they've been doing it. The First Ladies of Health. It's a one-day health fair, and they do it at 12 different locations, which is smart because we understand that we still don't have a better bus system, even though Cam and his group is working diligently, right, pushing the system. So without a car, it's hard to get around for people. Well, they've done it strategically so that perhaps there's a location near you or in your neighborhood. And I'll post the link again here inside the Chop Shop so you can check it out for yourself if you're interested. There it is. Get they're going to be health screening for numerous different things, and they're all going to be free. HIV, we don't talk about HIV anymore, but it's still a thing. People are still contracting the disease for the first time. Diabetes, hypertension, breast and prostate cancer, vision, dental, brain health, and lung health. Flu shots will also be available. They're going to provide children's screenings, including flu shots for the children, blood pressure, asthma, body mass index, dental vision, and speech and language. Again, the screenings will take place on the same day. That's Sunday, October 13th. It'll be at 12 locations. And here's just some of the locations. New Prospect Baptist Church. It's going to begin at 9 a.m., going to 3 p.m. New Jerusalem Church is going to kick off at 10 a.m. and go to 3 p.m. And again, I posted the link so you can check it out for yourself. I'm not going to go through all of the times, but I will go through some of the locations. Allen Temple AME in Roselawn, Rockdale Academy in Avondale, Corinthian Baptist Church in Bond Hill, Word of Deliverance in Forest Park, College Hill Recreation Center, the Evanston Recreation Center, the New Life Temple Church, Seven Hills Neighborhood Houses in the West End, the YMCA over on Elm Street, Mother of Christ Catholic Church in Winton Hills, and I believe there's a couple more. You can check it out for yourself. If this event is going to take place, rain or shine, and many of the locations will offer free food, prizes, gift cards, children's activities, and giveaways. You do not have to be a member of the church or the organization hosting the health fair in order to receive free services. All of the services will remain confidential. Anyone can get services, the insured, the uninsured, and all of the counseling and testing and screenings are open and free to the public. And I'll say it again, you do not have to be a part of the organization, and you do not have to be a part of the church. If you'd like to take place in some of the free screenings or any of the other activities, please feel free to do so. Again, this is brought to you by the First Ladies Health Fair, and it goes down October the 13th. So if this is, you're like, man, I might stop by. Great, please do. There's a flyer up right now on my personal Facebook page. There's also one on inside the Friends page as well. And there's a link, and you can follow the link and get all the information you just heard me read. You can get it all and more, including an exact sort of list out of all the locations, and check it out for yourself. Now, if it's not right for you, perhaps this is right for somebody that you know, and please check it out. Please check it out. It's October the 13th, and of course, I'll be talking about it more next week as well. Okay? Good morning to you. Now, we are a few minutes after 11. That means I got to make a move. Have an excellent Friday. We'll talk real soon. Before we leave, I want to remind you, check out the Erica J. Holloman Foundation. They'll be hosting a free event for the awareness of triple negative breast cancer. That's tomorrow, Saturday, October 15th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us at Mango's, located at 7121 Dixie Highway in Fairfield, for an afternoon of music and mammograms. When was your last mammogram? The Tri-Health Mammogram Van will be available for breast cancer screenings. Be sure to come out and support the Erica J. Holloman Foundation and learn more about triple negative breast cancer. Okay, so listen, have an excellent weekend. We'll talk real soon. Who knows? I might interrupt your regularly scheduled programming. We may go live over the weekend. We'll see what's happening. Speaking of that, the next live broadcast, you can check out the Is It Just Me podcast coming up today at 12:30. Please share it. And if you want to interact, please feel free to do so. I'll talk with you real soon. My name is Nathan Ivy. Until next time, I'm out.